Mr. Freeze. As one of the few LIM launch coasters in the world that Premier Rides built, this stands as a unique shuttle coaster. With its 200-foot spike, which includes a boost on it, this is easily one of the most intimidating roller coasters in the world. And many coaster enthusiasts have, at least when it was running backwards, it in their top 25 best coasters. But is it that good or scary? Find out as I review one of the coolest coasters on the planet. Mr. Freeze originally opened in 1998. Its theming was meant to tie into the movie Batman and Robin, which came out in 1997. But delays with the LIM launch system of Mr. Freeze caused the coaster to be delayed. A mere clone of Mr. Freeze also opened in 1998 in St. Louis. These coasters would go through a few changes over the years, most notably switching to Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast in the 2012 season. Though the St. Louis version still runs backwards, the Texas version was switched to forward-facing trains to help reduce maintenance issues and downtime towards the end of the 2022 season. The theming for Mr. Freeze is a nice touch, with the queue line going through what appears to be a mix of a paint factory and a snow cone factory. Although solid for how Six Flags would theme a ride 20 years ago, a nice upgrade to help add a story and more interaction with Mr. Freeze himself would be a huge plus, especially for those too scared to ride. There's little theming along the main course, which is the same as many of the coasters along the interstate at Six Flags over Texas. But you're going so fast on Mr. Freeze that you will likely not notice the lack of theming anyways. Another benefit of the enclosed theming is that you will not see this coaster running while in the queue line. Looking up at that vertical spike is scary and intimidating, no matter how boring or neutral of an element you might think it is. So, being able to think about some mediocre theming versus that spike can really help calm down a nervous rider. The load platform was operating both sides during my visit, and it is really nice to see how quick and efficient this roller coaster can be with its dispatches. You were allowed to wait for any row you wanted, with only a slightly extra line for the very front. Although the vertical spike was actually the best for us in the very back row because of how the boost on the spike engages, the front row offers an incredible opportunity since you get a great sense of speed that really maximizes the entire first half of this ride. After moving from the loading area to the main course, there's a brief delay to ensure everything is good to go before blasting off down a tunnel towards Mr. Freeze's main elements. The first is an inverted top hat. With the speed you attack this, it doesn't feel too different than an overbank mixed with an inversion. It still gives strong positive G's and other forces, so it is by no means a smooth inversion, but it punches you in nice enough ways to make you feel like you conquered something nice. Then you travel down and through the course, which includes an overbank turn. This feels similar though slightly different from the top hat, though the main sensations you're feeling during this whole section is the powerful speed through which you're attacking this course. As much as I enjoy airtime and other gimmicky elements on a coaster, this whole first half is about speed and power, but is still truly enjoyable. Then you travel up this crazy looking spike that surprisingly does very little for me. Looking at it, one has to think this offers some of the best hang time or weightlessness of any roller coaster element. But as your speed decreased, it felt, to me at least, as a rather neutral element, especially during the boost up the spike, since you now can't see much except looking straight up into the sky. You really can't even tell exactly how crazy high you are. The drop down wasn't much more exciting, as it seemed to really continue the general neutralness of this element as a drop. For some, doubtlessly, this element hits and delivers exactly how it appears to deliver. But for me and my brother, it just didn't. There is more than enough in the first half of this coaster to make up for an okay spike though. However, Nothing makes up for how painful the second half of this roller coaster is. ZDT Switchback has a strong moment of intensity on its overbank turn going backwards, but Mr. Freeze pounds you with positive G's starting in the valley off the drop and keeps throwing punches and forces at you until you mercifully arrive back in the station. Even the slow hang time over the backwards inverted top hat, which gives you just enough time to wonder if the train will roll back in valley, only offers a brief, lesser moment of these strong positive forces. This level of intensity also seemed to stay with me for the rest of the day. Other intense rides I've been on, including Fiesta Texas's Boomerang, required me to sit out for 30 minutes to an hour for me to catch my breath, but normally I can continue to ride afterwards. Mr. Freeze didn't make me run for a park bench, but even hours later, I could still feel the echoes of the beating that this coaster gave me for the 2 laps I took on it. Overall, how good is Mr. Freeze? This depends greatly on what you value in a roller coaster, and how the elements play for you individually. My brother ranks it as one of the worst roller coasters at Six Flags Over Texas, because of how the intensity just makes it unenjoyable. A ranking I can completely understand. Others, especially if they want the intensity and the spike hits for them, will rank this in the top 10% of roller coasters they've been on. I take more of a middle approach with my rankings to this ride, respecting its power and speed, but docking at some points for its intensity, though I've docked other coasters, such as Batman the Ride or New Texas Giant, much more for their intensity and nausea. Mr. Freeze is a solid ride that, like many rides at Six Flags Over Texas, has some flaws that will either hold it back or otherwise elevate it for the individual rider. So, ultimately, the only way to know how cool Mr. Freeze is to ride it yourself. For those curious that just have to know, I place it above Texas Stingray and right below Speedy Mills. How enjoyable is Mr. Freeze to you? Does the spike offer the feelings of weightlessness that you hoped for? Was this a better coaster when it ran backwards? Let me know. And as always, Kapkunkrap.